My mom passed away about 3 years ago now. And for the first year, I didn't see any counselors. I didn't go to therapy. I didn't do anything. And I really wish I had. And there were some preconceived notions and fears that I had that I found are actually pretty common among why people don't go see counseling. And today I'm going to talk about why you should go if you need to go. Now, the first reason that people usually give is that they think that going to counseling is like a sign of weakness, but that's actually wrong. It takes a lot of courage to admit that you need help, and it's not easy to go when you're afraid, or if you're from a family that doesn't really talk about feelings or emotions or things like that. It's hard, and I avoided going for a year because of how afraid I was of opening up and talking about those wounds and opening them up again. Another popular reason is that people don't feel comfortable talking to a stranger, or they don't feel like they can trust a stranger and they'd rather talk to like a friend or a relative. But what they don't know is that talking with a counselor or a therapist is actually a lot easier than talking to a friend. I know it might not seem like that, but because when you're talking with a friend or a relative about something that's happened to you, most likely it's happened to them too. And and then you can get into kind of a two-way conversation. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you talk with a counselor, it's all about you. They ask about you, and there's no pressure, and there's no stigma, and there's no worry that anybody's gonna hear about this or find out about anything that you said. So it actually becomes easy to talk. Like the first time I went to counseling, I didn't know what I was gonna say. But she asked me one question and everything just came pouring out. Like the floodgates opened. And they're there for you and only you because that's their job. They're there for you. And when you talk with a friend or a family member, a lot of the times you're sharing that pain and you can get kind of maybe lost in the weeds, or you maybe hold things back because you don't want to upset them or things like that. Well, when you talk to a counselor, it's all about you. And I know that going to see a counselor, the thought of it is really overwhelming. If you've never seen a counselor like I had, I'd never seen a counselor before, never been to a therapist or anything like that. And I was incredibly nervous and so scared. And my wife actually made the appointment for me because I just wouldn't do it. But I needed to go. And I am very thankful that she made that appointment for me because I am so much better now. And pushing past that fear is one of the hardest parts about going to counseling. And going to counseling is not easy anytime. It's hard every time. Every time I would go, I would like sit in my car and be like, "Oh man," I'd just be so nervous and just not really. I don't really know what I want to talk about. I don't know if I have anything to say. But they're professionals. They do this for a living. They help people, so they're gonna bring it out of you. You're gonna talk, and it's not difficult. And I want to end with a quote by Anais Nin, which goes, "There came a time when the risk to remain tight in the bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." And this really hits home because it's true. And a lot of the times when you just hold in that pain and you don't let it out, you hold it in and you don't talk to anybody, you hold it in, it just eats away at you. It eats away. But you're afraid to open up and talk to somebody for any of the reasons that we thought about. But you need to. The rewards outweigh the risks and the fear tenfold. And that's really one of the biggest problems is that it's all fear. And the fear is not really based in reality. And I'm sure there are people who find counselors and they don't like, and you don't really get along, but that'll happen. And you just need to push through. You need to find somebody who understands you. And I am so much better than I was. I'm still, it's not like you just get over things overnight, but you really like grow and you let the pain go. When you talk about it, you can talk about how these feelings and you can learn that they're normal and it goes away. You let it go. It doesn't go away, but it doesn't hurt anymore.